Exactly. All right. So my big question to you, blind from birth, is tell me about these NDEs.
Well, I've never been able to see anything in my life, ever. Not shadows, not color, not light, nothing. And in both of them, I saw the one when I was 22 was very detailed. I was dead for 4 minutes due to a car accident caused by a drunk driver. And I had a skull fracture, concussion, neck injury, back injury, and leg injury. And they said that if I'd hit my head even like half an inch lower, I would not be alive at all, definitely. So this was a full-blown visual experience. The first one was when I was 12 years old, and I had appendicitis. And then I just saw Jesus during that, and he told me to go back to my mother because she was crying and that I needed to go home. And that was basically all there was to that. But
whoa. Now, see, you said something that's fascinating. You saw Jesus. Now, did you actually, when you say saw, did you see him in a visual representation?
Yes, I did.
Now, so this had to be the first visual representation you ever had of anything.
Yes, but I thought then I was dreaming because I was 12 and I didn't quite understand what was going on.
Okay, and let me still back up though. Had you ever dreamed before in a visual image?
No, and that's what I couldn't understand back then, being a kid, and I was in intensive care, and I didn't understand what was going on. I mean, I really was sick. I had peritonitis through my whole system, and I wasn't sure if I was just imagining. And then when I was 22, and I had this full-blown visual thing and all kinds of things that happened, I knew that it had not been something that I just imagined.
Okay, so when you were 12, basically, when you came back to your body, you sort of chalked it up to, well, that was a weird dream experience, and didn't try to analyze, did you see anything, or what were these images, or anything beyond that? It wasn't something that lingered in your mind.
Well, it lingered in my mind all right, but I just couldn't explain it, and I just sort of dismissed it and went on, and then when I was 22, the whole thing came back again, and it made more sense.
Okay, so let's talk about that. Here you are, 22. Tell me about this fateful night.
I was driving home. I work as a musician, and I'd been entertaining at a restaurant, and I was being driven home, and this accident happened, and I was thrown out of the car, dragged across the pavement, and then a woman that weighed almost 300 pounds landed on top of me. She was pretty heavy, and she compounded my injuries further, but I'm glad that she herself had not been hurt, but I was the only one who was injured in that accident.
Oh, my God.
And I went in and out of my mouth several times.
Tell me about that.
I was in a body, and the only way that I can describe it was a body of energy or of light. And this body had a form. It had a head, it had arms, and it had legs. And it was like it was made out of light. And it was everything that was me, everything that was all of my memories, my consciousness, everything. And it kept going in and out of my mouth.
Okay, it was your etheric body.
Yes.
Okay, and so in and out of the mouth of your physical body. Now, again, if you're saying that you are in fact seeing this, that has to be mind-blowing because, of course, until this moment, you've never seen your body, have you?
No, and it was scary at first because I couldn't. I was up above the street, and then I was going in and out of my mouth, and it was like I couldn't make up my mind whether I was going to stay in that body. And then there was this period of silence, and then I was at Harborview Medical Center, and I was up on the ceiling, and I was totally out of the body then, looking down at everything that was going on. And the male doctor said, well, it's a pity now that she could be deaf as well as blind because there's blood on her left eardrum. And then the female doctor said, well, we don't even know if she's going to survive, and she could be in a permanent vegetative state if she does. And that made me mad.
Well, yeah, considering you were hearing and taking in every bit. But now, again, when you've never visually processed anything, to all of a sudden see images, how do you even know what they are? I
didn't at first. That's what was so frightening. It was terrifying. And a lot of people have asked me, well, wasn't it wonderful to be able to see?
No.
No, it was horrible, and I wouldn't have wished it on my worst enemy at first.
Right, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking this is this is the world's worst nightmare. Now, the other thing I'm wondering about, because clearly, when somebody's listening to this and is blind from birth and they're in a corporeal state, as we are, the idea that this is even possible is almost preposterous. But the other thing is that when people have NDEs, the things they are able to do, even if they're fully don't have any impairments physically, the things they're able to do are so far above what the human body normally can, that maybe there is some help in being able to process this for you.
Yeah, there was, and I was able to pick up on the doctor's thoughts.
Okay, what was he thinking?
Well, the male doctor was very compassionate, and he was really worried about me. And I thought, oh, my God, is that me they're talking about? Am I dead or what? And then I saw the physical body, and I looked down and I recognized my wedding ring from my first marriage. And I thought, oh, that is me. And
now, let me ask you about that, because when you say recognize, obviously you knew your wedding ring tactily because you'd felt it. But how did that tactile feeling translate into you saying, oh, well, that's what it would look like if I could see it?
Well, it was hard. I mean, I knew that ring because I knew the feel of it, and I knew that it had a little tiny diamond chip in the wedding ring, and then it had a bigger stone in the engagement ring part. It was a very tiny little ring, and it had orange blossoms on the corners, and it was kind of straight. And I recognized it. I just recognized it. Oh, that's my ring, and that is me. And it was really weird. And then I couldn't communicate with the female doctor. I wanted to talk to her, and it seemed like she was really caring, and they kept panicking, and they kept saying, we can't bring her back, we can't bring her back. And I was thinking, what are they so excited about? Big flippin' deal if they can't bring me back. I really didn't care.
Right. You're fine there on the ceiling. There's no problem.
I'm fine. I didn't have any pain.
Right.
What are you guys worried about? And
now, let me also ask, because normally in a hospital setting, you're not wearing any jewelry, anything, but all this. But I assume because this is like an emergency situation that they just took you as you were and immediately started to work.
Yes, and well, back then they taped your rings on you. Even when I had gallbladder surgery, they taped my wedding ring on. And
they did?
Yeah, back in 1977 they did, and this was in 1973.
Here's my question about that. The times I've had surgery and stuff, sometimes your hands really swell. Well, my God, if you're wearing rings, this can be very constricting.
Yeah, it might have been, but they kept it on me, so that's all I know. But
medical science is always a wonder. But all right, so, and by the way, some of the reasons I'm asking you some of these questions are individuals have emailed me saying, I want to know about this, so I'm throwing everybody else's questions in as well.
Well, I tried to reach out to the female doctor to try to get, how you try to grab hold of somebody to get their attention, to make them listen. And I was trying to tell her I was all right. And I could sense her caring and concern, too. And I reached out my right hand, and it went right through her right arm.
Oh, dear.
And she couldn't feel me, she couldn't hear me, and she couldn't see me. And I got really frustrated, and I thought, well, heck with this noise, I'm out of here. And as soon as I thought that, I went up through the ceiling as if it were nothing at all. And I remember thinking at the time, oh, that's how Jesus did it.
Ah, that's great.
When he was resurrected and went into the closed room and they couldn't figure out how he got in there.
Yeah.
And he went in, I went out.
Yeah, you betcha. All right, so here you are. Now you're out.
And I was up above the street again, and I was cavorting in the air, feeling like a puppy, rolling around in the grass because I didn't have to worry about running into anything, and it was so nice just to be free.
Yeah.
And then this vehicle formed itself around me. And vehicle is the only thing, or tube or something, I don't know quite, but it was a mode of transportation, that's for sure. And it formed around me. And then there was no one in it with me. I was alone. But I knew there were other people ahead of me and behind me. And what they were doing, I don't know, but there were people ahead of me and people behind me, but I was alone in my particular conveyance. And I could see out of it. And it went at a tremendously, horrifically rapid rate of speed. But it wasn't unpleasant. It was beautiful, in fact.
Now, this is interesting because normally we hear about the tunnel experience, but your tunnel seems to enable you to see out from it at the same time.
Yes, I could see through apertures. Apertures are the only word I could think of